As a child, Sunday was most memorable for the family lunches. During those days, I remember one sentence that sounded very wise and very ancient to my child's ear. Whenever something of importance occurred to me or occurred to everyone during those lunches, someone will say, "Time will tell." I don't know if it speaks to you. It didn't speak to me at the time. Sunday lunches were long enough as it was. At the age of 18, I entered a scientific prep school, traditionally considered in France as one of the hardest and the most challenging education paths for young children. A journey I had not chosen, but in which I was somewhat enrolled since my birth. Not knowing who I was, not knowing where I was going, I followed the path that was given to me. My vision of the future was extremely limited. And I thought, if I work hard, if I give it all, then my path is set and success would be somewhat assured. That was naive, extremely naive. In the game of prep school and abstract thinking, we are not all equal, and some are much more gifted than others. Regardless of the amount of work I was putting in, I was struggling. While some of my classmates seemed to be flying through the program, I thought I was wading through mud. And this is during this very difficult prep school moment that I learned something essential in life. We are all in a card game. And we all have different cards. And each card has its own purpose. And sometimes the cards that we hold in hands are not the best one. But they may prove to be very useful in the future. So my advice to you is hold tight to your cards and always keep playing. Prep school was difficult. I was struggling, I was suffering, but nevertheless, I went through the program. After prep school, I joined ESTP, a French engineering school specialized in construction and civil works. After 2 years, I decided it was time to gain international exposure, and I tried my luck in the US. I sent spontaneously 4 or 5 applications to 4 or 5 American universities, and maybe by luck I got accepted at MIT in Boston. More collaborative, more hands-on, more international. The American curriculum was a fantastic fit, and I built great souvenirs from this period in this university. We are often told we have to play to our strengths, but first we need to identify them. At that age, at your age, it's not that easy. I was only starting to begin to understand that straight lines were not for me, especially if they were drawn by others. And that is why I started to craft what I now call the crabe strategy. When moving in straight line becomes difficult, take a step back, analyze all options, and try to see if by making a move to the left or making a move to the right, you cannot keep moving on your own journey. After MIT, after my graduation, I decided to join an investment bank. Why? Because it was a prestigious choice, because it was the best option I had at the time. Karlovich, my chess professor, often tells me, when nothing of importance happens on the chessboard, you still have to play. Just choose your best option and play without steering the game. The game will naturally evolve. Opportunities will arise, and then you'll have the chance to accelerate. And indeed, the game did evolve. After 3 years in banking, an MBA at INSEAD, and 2 years in management consulting, I decided to leave everything and to join my father, who had taken over a company, a manufacturing company in Mayenne. For the Parisian elite, I was leaving everything. I was living a clear career path, a structured future to go and get lost in the countryside. For me, I was making my first choice, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was about to enter manufacturing and I will love it. But first, let's dig a bit more into the choice. Why did I join this manufacturing company? Maybe to go and to help my family, and especially my father. But most probably to make my first professional choices. As a child, during those family lunches, I was surrounded by people who had crafted their own destiny with their own hands. And maybe those people tried to influence me also at the time. Now was the time to make my own choice and to also craft my own destiny. So I did. Make no mistake, joining a family company is an adventure without a safety net and often without backtracking. From the discussion with my father, I understood very early on that manufacturing, like many other activities, bear fruit over the long run for those who are pugnacious enough to earn it day after day, for those who will play their cards with patience, with awareness, and with vision. This is why, when I joined GYS, the family company, I played my card over the long run. I immediately tried to leverage my international experience to go and to travel abroad. I visited more than 100 countries to convince clients to work with us, but also to build a vision in a market whose technological acceleration is still amazing today. From a few dozen employees, we grew the company to 850 people today. From 2,000 machines manufactured per year, we grew the company to 2,000 machines manufactured per day. What an incredible collective adventure, but it didn't come without any challenges. Let me give you two of them. The first challenge came from the East. A bit like in my prep school when I was surrounded by people whose abstraction level exceeded mine. I found myself on the side of my father when China entered the international market and changed the manufacturing paradigm the way we used to know it. Faced with a tsunami of highly competitive product, sometimes 50% of our price, we had no choice but to apply the crabe strategy once again, but this time not only for us, but for the employee of the group and for my family, especially my sisters who had put their trust into me. The second challenge came from the technology. Products and market who were mature since the Second World War started to mutate and even disappear. We had no other choice but to very carefully listen to our clients' changing needs and to adjust our product and offering accordingly. I don't know if you remember, I told you I was not gifted for straight line. In this changing paradigm, in this permanent changing paradigm, this peculiarity helped me. And the crabe strategy enabled the company not only to survive, but to move forward in the future. Let me say a word on strategy in the context of manufacturing machines in Europe. If the size of our domestic market in France was large enough when I started to work in the days of mechanical and electrical engineering, this is no longer the case at a moment where you will be starting to work in the days of electronics and software. In the case of our company, each of our new products requires more R&D investments and therefore a larger clientele to be able to amortize those investments. It's not that difficult. The larger a domestic market is, the more likely a company will be to invest in technology. Whether we like it or not in Europe, if we want to continue to build European or international manufacturing champion, we have no other choice but to build this dream on the size of Europe. I have to build Europe, you have to build Europe, we have to build Europe, it's our future. Finally, as I stand in front of you, 20 years after my engineering school, I'm still in the middle of my card game. And I hope to continue to learn from my cards every day. Be ambitious for yourself and for your community. Be curious, be open-minded, be generous to others, and remember that moving forward, constructing your future, moving from yourself to others and from others to the world will not be an easy and straight line. And when you'll feel like you have hit a dead end, or if you don't know what your next career move should be, remember the crabe strategy. Take a step back, analyze all of your options, and try to see if by making a move to the left or making a move to the right, you cannot accelerate on your own journey. Thank you very much.